Well, hello. This devotion comes from the Mountain View United Methodist Church. My name is Strickland. I want to begin with a song that was written by Still C. Ball. He was from Rugby, Virginia, a place that I have gotten to visit, as I got to go to the shop of Wayne Henderson, who is one of the top luthiers in America today, and he lives in Rugby, Virginia. So I found this to be really an interesting thing, and this song by Still C. Ball came from a collection of bluegrass gospel spirituals that was on a record called Sound of the South, recorded by Alex Lomax. So I'd like to start with this song for today. Oh, Father, adieu, I am sorry for you. My heart is filled with trouble, so what shall I do? Oh, Father, adieu, I am sorry for you. My heart is filled with trouble, so what shall I do? And if I never see you anymore, then that last trumpet shall sound. Prepare to meet in heaven where parting is no more. And if I never see you anymore, then that last trumpet shall sound. Prepare to meet in heaven where parting is no more. Father, adieu, I am sorry for you. My heart is filled with trouble, so what shall I do? And if I never see you anymore, till that last trumpet shall sound. Prepare to meet in heaven where parting is no more. And if I never see you anymore, till that last trumpet shall sound. Prepare to meet in heaven where parting is no more. Well, this song reminds us that forever life has been tough. I'm sure for these folks that live there in that part of Virginia or close there, Kentucky, some of the old coal miners, some of the hard-living Appalachia people, this was a song that kind of spoke to the reality of their day. And in some ways, it kind of speaks to the reality of our day. You know, as we deal with this COVID crisis, we try to hope that maybe the worst is behind us, but we're never sure. We kind of live in that anxiety of this particular time. It was sort of interesting. This last week, I went to one of the lumber stores, and I was checking out, and all of a sudden, the cashier just started talking to me. She said, you know, should I have visited my aunt before she died? I don't know why she was asking me that. There was nothing that indicated that I would be a person that might be willing or able to listen to her. But I did, and then she just described it that she had gone to El Paso, Texas, and when she came back to Longmont, her aunt had died, and she never had gone to see her after she came back from El Paso, and she was feeling bad about that. I asked her a little bit about her aunt. She told me, and I discovered, I thought maybe her aunt would be an older woman, but her aunt was just something like 29 years old. So I realized this clerk was quite a bit younger, and so she was really worried about that. And you know, and I kind of thought how, you know, when I had served as a hospice chaplain down in the Four Corners area, and I remembered all about some of the stories that we heard about death and dying. And, you know, one of the things down there is that the Native Americans believed that no one that was pregnant should be near anywhere where somebody had died for at least 3 days after they had died, because the spirit might still not have left this world or moved on. Well, I don't know much about that, but I do know this, that, you know, this weekend is Halloween. So even in our own tradition, we have this day we call All Hallowed Eve. And then we have the next day, which is All Saints Day. Or if you're Hispanic Latino, you'd be celebrating the Day of the Dead. And in so many other cultures, along with our own, in a sense, our own tradition, there is something about honoring our ancestry, remembering those that have died. Because Jesus promised us that even in death, there would still be life, that life would go on. But if nothing else, I think these kind of celebrations remind us of some of the things that our ancestors want us to remember. You know, we even remember that when the kids come to our door on Halloween night, they first say, trick or treat. Trick or treat. You know, it's kind of like a warning. If you're not kind to me, if you don't provide for me, if you don't recognize that I am here, then a trick could happen to you. There might be a consequence, is kind of what the kids are saying to us. And maybe that's what our ancestors remind us of two things. One, that we are accountable, and two, that we are connected. You know, no matter what, we are accountable to each other. There are those that want to go it alone, or that they think it's all about themselves. But it's not about just me, but it is about us. Our life is about all of us, our life together. And in that way, we are accountable to each other because we are connected to each other. Jesus pointed that out. If one suffers, everyone suffers. So all that everybody's going through at this time is about us. And each of us have to do our part to care for all of us in any way we can, because that was what Jesus asked us to do. Like in the Gospel of Luke, Jesus just talked about how the kingdom of God or the realm of God is not just someplace out there, some other time, but that realm is to be discovered right here. This is the place that we discover what the love of God and the message of Jesus is all about. So as we come to this weekend, even though Halloween is supposed to be a time of fear and maybe a time to be afraid, no, it's a time of transition. Because in our Christian belief, wherever there is birth, we know that we are moving towards a time of death. But whenever there is death, it reminds us that there will always be new life. This is the promise of God through his son, Jesus Christ. And we celebrate that with the ancestors who remind us that we are accountable to our life here on earth and what we do with it. And we are accountable to each other. As the Bible told us, we need to love the Lord with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and we need to love our neighbor as ourselves. Accountable, connected. This is the story that we learn at this time of year. As we go from Halloween, moving to Christmas. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. In the sky, Lord, in the sky. Hey! Have a good Halloween and All Saints' Day and a wonderful rest of the week. Stay well. Take care. God bless you. Amen.